we're doing a series called Christmas Isn't Canceled. How many of you had anything that got canceled last year because of COVID, or maybe even this year? You had some modifications. Yeah, it's just this continual thing. It's like, I guess this is the way it's going to be for a while. But in 2020, our family, the Ashcraft tribe, we only get together at Thanksgiving. And so we normally do that. That's the only time. My wife's family, they get together all the time. But we have kind of our family gathering around Thanksgiving. And last year, my parents are older. They're in their 80s. And so with everything that was going on, they were kind of concerned. We were kind of concerned. Didn't want them to get sick and lose them. And so we made the decision not to have Thanksgiving. And none of the family got together. And it was really weird. And I spent this year, I just realized how much I miss my mom and dad and how much I miss my family. And I spent a couple times, I went to Russellville and hung out with my parents for a few hours, talking to them. And then when we got back together this Thanksgiving, we decided we would put everybody in the same room. We'd do it again. It's a funny thing. Like we have, if you guys don't know, Larissa Floyd is my niece. Jeremy is my nephew-in-law, and so we're related. And so we tell all kinds of jokes about our family Thanksgiving. It is hilarious. My mom and dad have the heater on. Doesn't matter how hot it is outside. Anybody know what I'm talking about? And it can be 173 degrees. You touch that heater, you're getting your hand slapped. I'm telling you, got to keep the temperature up because it's going to get cold tonight. I've got a couple of other things that I could say, but I don't know if my mom's going to watch the live stream, so I won't say that. A few funny things. We're always just having a blast. Like, we don't have enough room. We take out all the furniture, put a row of tables through the living room, and then those that got there late to our Thanksgiving dinner eat in the garage. Anybody else eat in the garage? And it's not like one of those cool man caves. Like, I've seen these people that are on our street right now. They've got the little flip-down screen, and they got a man cave out in the garage. It's not like that. It's just a garage. And, like, there's mothballs and all kinds of stuff out there. It's crazy. But we got together, and everybody wasn't able to make it. And I don't know, as my parents get older, and as I get older, I'm like 50 now. As I get older, I realize just how much I really look forward to and value that. And I valued it more this year because I missed it last year. So I spent a lot of extra time. Normally, we're just there for dinner, and then we end up going back to Amy's parents' house, and all the family left, and I just stayed. I stayed there until after dark. We were talking. And then the next day, I went back and connected again. My brother was spending some time with my mom and dad, staying there for a few days, and so we just sat and had long conversations, and I knew that I needed to leave. I needed to go and get to some other things that we had on the agenda, but I just didn't want to leave. I ended up texting later, after I left, I texted my brother, I texted my mom and dad, and I was like, this is really, really an amazing time. I really enjoyed hanging out with you guys. How many of you experienced something like that? So it seems like with last year, with us canceling everything, this year, we're kind of like, you know what? Nope, we're doing it. Like, Christmas is not canceled. Instead of like laying off and just going easy, we're like, let's just do it all. Let's make up for 2020. Let's double down on Christmas. Anybody doubling down on Christmas in here? I'm like, okay, I'm going to help you today, but I'm going to walk you through some stuff, and I can feel it in the room. There's a little of anxiety. They're like, how long is this message going to be? I got some Christmas shopping to do. I got stuff. I brought stuff for the kids. I got to go. Let's get it done. Let me go. So I feel it in the room. So I'm going to try to be going on as quick as I can through this message. But I want you to know that Christmas isn't canceled, but it can get so stressful because we're doubling down. We're like, what in the world is happening? And we may say, what the Matuba? And if that doesn't make any sense to you, then you should get on our Equip track, go through our Connect track, our first step, get on a team. Then we have a team banquet, and all kinds of funny, crazy stuff happens at our team banquet once a year. And that happened, and if you know, you know. If you don't know, sorry. We'll get it next time. So for some of us, though, it can be so stressful. We're like, can we cancel Christmas, or at least parts of it? Like, just delete these few things. Because for so many people, Christmas equals stress. How many of you feel stressed at Christmas? Yeah. And for some people, it feels like anxiety. You really know that you have anxiety when you have anxiety about your anxiety. How many of you have ever had, and you're like, yeah, like, I'm so anxious right now. I realize I'm anxious, and I'm anxious that I'm anxious, and I'm wondering, like, what's happening to my body because I'm anxious. That's when you know you really have anxiety. or you're just super fatigued. Anybody just get out of bed, you walk to the kitchen, like, nope, no. Like tomorrow, we'll go tomorrow. It's going to be crazy. So you're doing all this stuff for Christmas, and it's joyous season and everything, and you're singing the Christmas carols. You're like this, joy to the world. Anybody feel like, it's not, I don't feel like it's really joy. I feel like it's like, I don't know, like a little hostility. There's all kinds of stuff going on. I mean, a lot of us, we don't want to face the pressure of the season because it really isn't necessarily something that we look forward to. It's a lot of pressure, and there's different reasons. I know that there's a lot of people that we have in our church family, in our church body, that when it comes to holidays and seasons where everyone else is looking forward to getting together with their family, there are people that are part of our church family that don't have biological family. And so then when we begin to post our pictures of all the cool things that we're doing and all the things that we got to do with our family, they're on the outside looking in. And that's not necessarily a positive thing, right, for some people. And we don't think about that and realize that while we're having maybe this season of joy, other people are feeling like they're completely left out because they don't have what we have. Others know that they're going home to family, but it's a broken family. Anybody know what I'm talking about there? You got the crazy uncle, you got people that you feel like this is where I was abused all my life. Like all of my trauma comes from this. Why would I go back to this? Like I don't know why I want to get back together with family because it represents all of this pain and stuff from the past. And so or you're just there and you're like, there's nothing whatsoever that we have in common other than blood. Like I don't understand anything you're talking about right now. We don't have anything in common. For others, there's this pressure of shopping, right? And you're like, it's the most wonderful time of the year. We get to go to the store, and everyone else is there, and we have to park in Pasadena to go to Baybrook Mall. Do you know what I'm talking about? You're like, is there a shuttle? You guys, I mean, I know you guys are making $1 bajillion. Could at least get a shuttle to get down there. And you go, and I noticed, like, when our kids were younger, it was so simple to buy them something. You get a Rubik's Cube, and they're like, Mom, Dad, you're the best. And for Alexa, our daughter, we didn't get her anything. We just got her the boxes of the other presents that we got for kids. And they're like, thank you, Mom and Dad. I have a box, and now it's a bus, and I can drive it, and I have forks on for the windshield wipers. It was amazing. Like, we got off so cheap with her. But as they get older, there's things that get more and more specific. Have you noticed that? Like, they get older, and there's an entitlement thing going on. And you're like, Like, I made you. I don't have to get you a gift at all. Like, you're living at my house for free. But they're like, no, I want this shirt. And this shirt it's got to be like 39.75% cotton. That's the max. More than that, it's just like, it's too hot. 60.25 polyester, that's all I want, and it has to be this particular color. I don't know about you guys, but I'm at the place in my life where I'm not picking colors for any gifts whatsoever because I'm still looking back on Facebook at the dress. I still don't know if it was gold or blue. Anybody in here? So don't trust me with colors. I don't even know what color the dress is, right? This pressure. It's like, how am I going to pick the right thing? I found the right size, but they don't have the right color. For me, just by the way, don't buy me clothes. Because it just doesn't work. You're like, what size are you? Too big. That's all. That's all you need to know. They're like, what's really funny is my waist size has gotten larger as I've gotten older. We don't talk about that a lot, sensitive subject. But anyway, I've noticed that there's only a certain amount of fabric that they put in jeans. It's a total overall square inch that they'll put in jeans. So once my belly crossed a certain size, then the pants started getting shorter. So if I keep getting fatter, I'm probably going to have to be wearing shorts that were supposed to be jeans because I'm like 77-inch, 32, I don't know what it'll be, but it'll be crazy. So anyway, don't even bother. And so the kids are like, man, I want something for Christmas. And so you got pressure over the money. Like, how are you going to stretch your money to buy all these gifts? And you tell your kids, really, really excited about your gift. I got you a Big Mac. And they're like, sweet, like the 27-inch iMac? No, not an iMac, an actual Big Mac. That's what I went. I went to McDonald's. That's all the money that I had. I was going to get you the fries, and they're like, no, that's too much. Just the Big Mac. That's all you're getting. Or you got pressure for time, right? Has anybody ever, all the things, you're doing all the things all the time, and you got to go, it's just like full schedule. What are you getting for Christmas? A calendar without any days on it. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Or you have the pressure for energy, right? It's like, go, get up. What's on our schedule today? It's crazy. And I don't know if you guys noticed this or not, but I didn't coordinate with the band, but it was funny that they sang the song at the beginning. Some of you guys missed it because you got here a little bit later, but they sang the song, The Most Wonderful Time of the Year. Have you listened to that song? Like it's like the most stressful song that you can listen to. You talk about stuff happening. It's the most wonderful time of the year. First line, kids jingle belling. Whose idea is it to give children bells? As if children are not already noisy enough. Number one, why are we getting them bells? Number two, where do we have to go with them that's on our calendar that we had no idea this was coming? What is going on? Was Grandma here? Because you know what? You know who gets kids noisy toys? Not Mom and Dad, Grandma and Grandpa. Guess what? I already know. When our kids start having kids, I'm like, I know what I can do to get back at you. Here's the loudest, most obnoxious toy. I love you. Gotta go. I'm leaving. Right? So we get the kids and we put it on our calendar. We're going to take them jingle bell. First of all, what is jingle belling at all? Does anybody even know? I don't know if that's even a thing that I'm even saying right. It just says it in the song. We're going to jingle bell. And then it says, everyone will tell me to be of good cheer. Really? Really? Do you hear what's happening in my car as we're driving to go jingle belling? You tell me to be a good parent? Like, you don't know what it is to parent children. When I was a person before we started having kids, I looked at people that had leashes on their children. I'm like, bad parent, bad parent, bad parent. And then I'm like, I had kids, and I'm like, wisdom, wisdom, wisdom. Like, you just put the leash on the kids, and you're like, they're safe. I know, because I can feel something tugging. I don't know. I don't know if somebody has swapped my child for a dog. I get home, and I had no idea, but it was like, I thought he was there. I had a leash on him. I don't know. So all this stuff is happening. So then you got holiday greetings. How many of you take the Christmas card photo and you send it to your friends? You know the photo I'm talking about where everybody was mad about being there and smiled and pretended it was a great experience? Like, this is our Christmas greeting. Our family's happy. Like, for that one split second you were. All the money to send out the cards, and it goes on people's refrigerator. Gay, happy meetings. All the time, all the parties, right? This is just the lyrics of the song, the most wonderful time of the year. I'm not sure that it is. Friends come to call. I'm sorry. Was there an event on our calendar that you were showing up at my house that I wasn't aware of? And you come up with this plausible excuse that you can right now. It's the golden excuse. You're like, I'm sorry, we were exposed to COVID. Thanks for coming over. We bless you. We're in quarantine. We're getting it one at a time, just so you know. It's going to be 2-week cycles going forward for the next 3 months. God bless you. You go back home. We'll stay here. We don't want to get anybody sick. Like, all kinds of things that are happening, right? Friends come to, they're parties for hosting. How many of you guys do not have the gift of hospitality? Yeah, I don't. Like, I like people, but after a while, I start getting hyperventilating. I'm like, I don't know what we're supposed to do. Like, I made coffee. What else are we were supposed to feed people? Like, we're supposed to clean the house? And I start breathing. I'm like, it's the most wonderful time of the year. It really is. Right? All this is going on. Then, someone comes up with the idea we should toast marshmallows. I don't know about your HOA, but they kind of frown on stuff in mine. And if you've ever lived in a country and toasted marshmallows, this isn't the best activity that you can do. If you have children that try to roast marshmallows, there's only 2 ways that marshmallows make it out of the fire with a child. Number 1, it burns the marshmallow to death. It is like 7th degree burns, and it comes out, and you put it in your mouth, and your kids have no skin guarding their teeth. Don't do this. Don't do marshmallow toasting. Don't do that. Then, the other thing is the kid leaves it in there too long and falls off the stick into the fire. Have you ever seen trauma with a child? Because that's trauma with a child. Like, he's dead. He's in the fire. Okay, here's another marshmallow. And who even has marshmallows? Did you remember to get it at the store? Probably not. Going back again. We're going to toast these marshmallows. Then, caroling out in the snow. Well, we live in Houston. All right, we skipped that one. Scary ghost stories? Like, what? Like, what does scary ghost stories have to do with Christmas? You have your own holiday. What, are you just showing up late? Go back 2 months. You could do your scary ghost stories on Halloween. All right? And then Tales of the Christmases long, long ago. That's Grandpa telling the stories. They're like, sorry, Grandpa, we're going to bed. We're done. And so it becomes, for some people, it's the most horrible time of the year, right? You're like, awful. So we're like, can we cancel Christmas? Is there a way that we can get through? So the deal is, we want to find a way, if we can't cancel it, can we skip it? How many of you guys have ever seen the movie Christmas with the Cranks? It's one of our favorite movies at our house. All the girls love to watch it. It's a cool story that I feel like my wife and I are going to live out in a couple of years, where all their kids are grown and gone. Their daughter goes off to college, and they get the idea, we don't have to participate in all the madness. We can go on vacation. It is a hilarious, like, it's horrible because the neighbors come in and they're so condescending over the fact that they're not willing to participate in Christmas. They're sneaking it by their family because nobody's going to be there. Then their daughter decides to return home at the last minute, and they realize they got to put up all the decorations because they don't want her to know that they were skipping Christmas. It is absolutely hilarious. And so we're like, can we either cancel it or skip it? And the answer is no. Because the reality is this: unless you and I can cancel Christ, we can't cancel Christmas. And so it's all about Christmas. And so if we can't cancel it, then what are some things that you and I could do to actually make it better? Are there some things that we can do to make Christmas survivable and even maybe something that we look forward to doing every single year? Here's some suggestions, and I would suggest that you take these and maybe think about these today. I think it can really help you. I was just praying and asking the Father, what do you want to say to your people during this season? And I feel like this will be some things that will really help you. So if we can't cancel it, how can we make it better? The first thing that I think that we could do is this, is that you and I should shift our focus, and we should focus on the one gift, not the many gifts. The one gift, not the many gifts. There's so many gifts that we're trying to buy. There's so many things that we're trying to do. There's so many places that we're trying to go. And at the end of the day, it's really all about one gift that we were given. In Luke chapter 2, the story of Christmas, I'm going to read it out of order today because I wanted you to see how amazing the reception of this one gift actually was. The angels announced the arrival of the Messiah to shepherds that were out in the fields. They're just hanging out with their sheep. It says in verse 8 in Luke chapter 2, there were shepherds living out in the fields nearby, keeping watch over their flocks at night. An angel of the Lord appeared to them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were terrified. But the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid. I bring you good news that will cause great joy for all the people." It's interesting that the angel says, hey, you don't have to be freaked out. You don't have to be worried. You don't have to be afraid. I'm coming with good news. You don't have to be anxious in this season about what's about to happen. You don't have to worry about the announcement that I'm about to make. You don't have to worry that you're living up to some standard. I'm here to just deliver some really good news. And when you hear what I'm about to tell you, it's going to bring you so much joy, not just for you, but for everyone that will ever live from this time forward. The angel said it would be great joy for all the people. Here's the announcement. Today, in the town of David, a Savior has been born to you. He is the Messiah, the Lord. And this will be a sign to you. You will find a baby wrapped in cloths and lying in a manger. Suddenly, a great company of the heavenly host appeared with the angel, praising God and saying, "Glory to God in the highest heaven, and on earth, peace to those on whom His favor rests." This is the announcement that the Messiah has shown up, that the gift of all humanity has finally arrived. I'm thinking about the angels because they have been a part of God's plan from since before the beginning. They've known that this day is coming through all of human history. They go all the way back to creation and the fall of Adam and Eve. They saw it happen. They saw what happened with Noah and the flood. They saw the birth of Israel and their captivity. They saw the failings of Israel over and over and over as God tried to bring them forward into His plan, and they would fall away from God. And sometimes they were in captivity, and His people were broken, and He wanted to restore them and bring them back to this place because He had this point in history that He knew that He was going to release His Son into the earth. And the angels have known this all along, and they're like, finally, we get to tell people that today the Savior is finally here, the gift of all of humanity. This was the first Christmas, and it changed everything. Everything changed at this Christmas. And it's supposed to be great joy. So the question is why is there such anxiety now? Like, how has this happened that the very holiday that we're about to celebrate is to commemorate the birth of Christ? We're supposed to celebrate the Savior of the world and great joy and peace to all people. How is it then that instead of peace we have anxiety? Instead of joy we have anger and resentment and bitterness and rage? What is going on in the earth? I believe it's because we have changed our focus to the gifts instead of the real one gift. Perhaps we've forgotten about this one gift. And we've made this season all about what we can get and not about what was given to us and the gratitude that we have received this incredible gift. I don't know about you, but when I came to Jesus and I realized that everything that I have ever done, all my past, all the stuff that I have done against other people, all the shame that I've lived in, all of the brokenness that was in my heart, all of those things, when I came to Him and I was forgiven. And I realized that not only was I forgiven, I was ushered into a relationship with my Father in heaven, and that everything changed in my life from that point forward. That alone, we don't have to have God do anything else for us. That is the shift that means everything. That is the gift that changes everything in our life. And so many times we forget to be grateful for the gifts that we've received, right? 2 years ago, what was it that you got for Christmas? Where is it? Do you even know what it is? We forget, and we're just looking for the next thing, and we're forgetting to look back at the one thing that we have received, which is salvation through Christ. The second thing that I would suggest is this, is that maybe we should prioritize the purpose of Christmas over the plans of Christmas. Let me say that again, because I want this to sink in. You and I, in order to have peace, joy, and all the stuff that this season is supposed to bring, is we have to adjust our focus, and we have to put as our priority the purpose of Christmas, not our plans that we have all around Christmas. How many of you have ever had plans get canceled on you? A couple of people in the room for sure. Have you ever had somebody forget that they were supposed to be at something with you, and you were like sitting there for forever, and you're like, oh man. Like that's a bummer, right? Sometimes you can feel like, I guess I just wasn't a priority. But sometimes you and I have to be on the other side of that equation, and we have to call somebody up and say, listen, I know that I said that I was going to be there. And I don't do this all the time, but I can't make it. I had to do that just this week. We have a group of pastors that work together in our city to try to collaborate for community transformation. There's several projects that we work on together. We have a great relationship. We have a lot of fun together, conversations. We poke fun at one another. It's just a really cool time. And so one of them this last week was going to film a really cheesy video that's right down my alley. If there's cheese on it, I want to be a part of it. I mean, it's just super cheesy stuff. And so the lady's name that was coordinating it, her name is Lindsay Kirkpatrick. She is the pastor of Asbury Methodist right down Space Center here. And so we got a great relationship. She's like, do you want to come and be a part of this video? And I said, absolutely. It was like Monday or Tuesday. I said, absolutely, count me in. If it's going to be cheesy, I want to be a part of it. It's going to be horrible. I definitely want to be a part of it. I don't know what it's going to be. Just count me in. And Thursday, I just realized I just hit a wall just physically Thursday, probably because I'm 50. But I was just realizing, like, I have no gas left in the tank. I'm done. And I didn't realize when I committed to this thing initially that it was going to be on Friday, which is normally the day that we take off to just rest and kind of recharge. And I had to text her on Thursday, and I said, I'm really sorry. This is not like me, but I can't make it. And I said, I have no gas left in the tank, and I know I made a commitment, and I ask you to forgive me. I just can't make it there because I know you were counting on me, but I can't do it. And she said, hey, no problem at all. Now, here's what I want to say. Sometimes you and I need to stop adding plans. Sometimes we need to take them off our calendar. But we're afraid, I think, that if we disappoint someone, then it means our relationship it's no longer going to be intact. Our relationship isn't going to hold up in the cancellation. Now, here's what I would suggest. I'm going to go to the opposite side of the spectrum. If you're the person that's always canceling, that's a whole other subject. But as we get through this Christmas season, everyone is trying to make sure that everyone is included, and there's no malice, there's nothing bad about it, but everyone has an ask for your schedule. Your family, your church family, your small group, your people at work, all these people are trying to get on your schedule just because they love you. But here's the thing, you don't have to say yes to it all, and you don't have to show up to it all. If our relationships cannot survive a cancellation or a modification of plans, perhaps they weren't a real relationship to begin with. Listen, this is what happened. When I canceled my plans, but nothing about our relationship or our purpose working together changed. We said, cool, see you next time. Because we have a purpose for the relationship working together. We are partners in transformation. And this one thing does not change that. Listen, you not showing up to all 100 parties, only making it to 99, guess what? You're still going to be good with people around you. But for us, so many times, our validation comes from other people's affirmation, and when we don't feel like we please people around us, then we're putting all these weights of buying the right gifts, being at all the things, and all this stuff is pressing us down, and we're not able to focus on the purpose because of all of our plans. And so I want to say it like this. If we can confuse our plans with purpose, and confusing plans with purpose produces anxiety. Confusing plans with purpose produces anxiety. Why? Because when we think that the things we are doing are our purpose, then the only thing that we can do to be better at our purpose is to do more things. So then somehow, in order to be valuable or to be valid, we have to continue to make ourselves busier and busier and busier. And we have a performance mentality that in order for me to be good enough, my calendar has to be filled to overflowing. And we think, when we confuse plans and purpose, we believe that busyness equals productivity. Let me say that again. Many times when we confuse plans and purpose, we start thinking the more busy we are, the more productive we are. And those two things aren't necessarily the same. How many of you have worked really hard at something before and been unsuccessful with it? Yeah, I mean, like no progress at all. Like I'm working forever and I just can't seem to get this thing done. It's also interesting that sometimes when I'm trying to get work done, whether it's writing a sermon or meetings or planning or whatever, it's like everything shuts down. And if I'll just go rest the next time, either when I wake up the next day or when I take a break and rest, all of a sudden my mind turns back on, and then everything I was spending hours doing, now I can get done in a few minutes. And so we think that we got to fill our schedule up because we're being productive, or we think that the more we do, the more meaning we have. And that's not true either. So let me say it like this. The plans you and I make are a means to an end. The plans are the activity that get us to the end. What is the end? The purpose. So the plans facilitate the purpose. They are not the purpose. And so here's what you need to understand. You can change your plans and still achieve your purpose. Thank you for that. That was good. All right. So we need to focus on our purpose, not get those confused with plans. See, plans can be changed and we can still facilitate our purpose. This happened in the Christmas story. I don't know if you've ever seen this or not, but if I were Joseph and Mary is like on the edge of having a baby, the last thing that I would be thinking is to travel a really long distance to another town. How many of you think that'd be really good? We've got some people that are like super pregnant that are in the service today, and they're like, nope, bed rest is what I choose. But this is not what happens with the birth of Jesus. Like Mary is like, it's almost time, Joseph. Like we're getting really close, and you're gonna have to make your own breakfast because I'm hurting and all this stuff. And so it says in those days, Luke chapter 2, verse 1, Caesar Augustus issued a decree that a census should be taken of the entire Roman world. This was the first census that took place while Quirinius was governor of Syria, and everyone went to their own town to register. So let me just pause there for a minute and explain what happened because a census was decreed. Everyone had to register at home, like where you were born. That would be like me having to go to the place of my birth, the city that's on my birth certificate, when we did the census every year. I'm glad we don't do it that way anymore. We're like, you live here now? Yep, live here. Thanks. See you later. Bye. But in this season and in this situation, in order to register, they had to go back to their hometown. So here you have Mary, and you have Joseph thinking, man, we'll just do this in Nazareth. I don't want to go anywhere. And now all of a sudden they have to travel. Their plans get changed. But Jesus was still coming. So Joseph went up from the town of Nazareth to Galilee, to Judea, to Bethlehem, the town of David, because he belonged to the house and line of David. He went there to register with Mary, who was pledged to be married to him and was expecting a child. While they were there, the time came for the baby to be born, and she gave birth to her firstborn, a son. She wrapped him in cloths and placed him in a manger because there was no guest room available. So the town's so crowded because everybody has shown up and the town is now overflowing. And now Jesus is trying to show up in the earth, is going to have to go to a stable. And when he's born among the animals, he's going to be placed in a trough for real. Like when I think about the trips that we've taken as a family, I get frustrated before we ever leave in the car. Is anybody ever with me? Like, you don't have to raise your hand, confess or whatever, but we're trying to load people in the cars and we forget the leash for the kids. They're running all over the place. We're trying to get them in. They're like, I don't like to sit here. I'm like, shut up, and we're trying to get in. We're a happy family. We're going to see Disney. It's the happiest place on earth. We're so excited about this trip and we're trying to get things in and like, can't fit the luggage in. And by the time I'm ready to go, I'm like, we're not going. We're not going. They're like, Dad, what about Mickey? And I'm like, Mickey died. And I mean, it's like, no, I didn't really say that. I didn't say that. And if your kids are in here, listen, we have really incredible children's environments. I would suggest you take advantage of them because sometimes I say things that are not necessarily age appropriate for small. Anyway, I'm thinking if I'm Joseph, I'm going, let's just go home. Like, really? I'm having to travel, having to do all this, having to be a husband. I'm having to be a father to this baby that's not mine, it belongs to God. I'm having to cover my wife in what could be a shameful thing. And really, all of this, we have to travel. And then when we get here, nobody even has space for us. My baby is going to have to be put in a trough. Just skip Christmas. It's not good enough. That's what happens to many of us. It's not good enough. And we just want to cancel. We want to skip it. But Mary says, Joseph, I'm sorry to tell you, but the baby's coming. And what I want to say to all of this today is whether or not you and I choose to have the peace and joy that's available for Christmas, it's coming anyway. Because we're celebrating and commemorating what happened when Jesus was born on that day. And so just, okay, let's just modify our plans and we'll put him here in this manger. It mattered that Christ was born, not where he was born. And it matters for you and me that we make room for him in this season. Not that we have to get everything for everybody that they wanted at the expense of our budget, our peace, our time, or to show up to everything that everybody has planned for us. We don't have to do all that. What we have to do is we have to make room for Jesus to show up. So I want to just release you to this morning. It's okay for your plans to change. You don't have to be at every single thing. And when you see the pictures of the party that you chose not to go to posted on Facebook or on social media, you don't have to have FOMO. And you don't have to get a chip on your shoulder because you weren't there and other people had time. Just relax. Here's what I want you to hear. If I prioritize the purpose of Christmas over the plans of Christmas, my joy and peace cannot be taken. And I want you to experience joy. I want you to experience peace. So take a break. Change your plans. Keep your money. You don't have to buy all those gifts. Teenagers and children in this room are like, no, don't tell me more. Listen, a lot of times people don't pay attention to what I say on Sunday anyway. So hopefully for you, that'll be one of those days. I'm just kidding. Maybe they'll forget. But relax. Just gather with people that are biological family by choice. You don't have to buy presents for them, just be present with them. You don't have to clean the house all the way. Just listen, just kick the toys over in the corner. I was a dad too. It was like our house was clean for 3 seconds, and then the kids realized, why is it so nice in here? Just be present. Drink some coffee, hot chocolate. You don't have to have big plans or even play games. Or just take in the presence of others. Not the presence under the tree, just the presence of others. You don't have to buy it all. You don't have to be at everything. Those are the what. They are not the why. So those can change. And remember, this season it was about the one gift, not the many. And so if you need to, change your plans accordingly. I release you to do that. Don't cancel Christmas. Don't skip it. Just enjoy the peace of Christ. I want to pray for you this morning because as we were praying this week, I just felt the heaviness on a lot of people. There's just so much weight in this season, and so I want to pray for you. And then I want us to stand and worship, and we're going to have a moment just putting our eyes straight on Jesus, not on anything else. And when we stand and worship, I'm going to ask you just to close your eyes, don't move around, just focus on Him, and just let's have a moment with our Savior. Father, I thank you for the people that have come today, for our opportunity to be together as family by choice, for what you're stirring in our hearts, that we don't have to be under heavy burdens and heavy loads. You said, come to me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, and take my load on you, because it is easy and it is light. And so we step into your presence right now. We step into our focus on you right now in this season. And we say, Father, we just want to be with you. We want to set our eyes on you and let all the fear, all the worry, all the anxiety, the stress, and the fatigue just slip away. And in your presence right now, we stand together and worship you. Come on, across the room. Would you stand with me, and let's lift our voices and lift up His name and celebrate Him together. Come on, lift your hands, close your eyes, and just surrender to Him this morning.